Look at that. We are live. Hey, folks, I just dipped off of one podcast onto this show, and I'm Kurt. I'm here with Magic Will Middleton. We will be here for the next hour or so on the LifterLMS pre-sales call, doing a deep dive into everything LifterLMS and possibly WordPress. And with that, I just want to welcome Will to the call, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It feels like I logged out of our call last week, did some client work, went to bed, woke up, and it's the next day, and we're here doing it again. It felt like the last week went by in a flash.
Kapoof. And that was it.
That was it.
I've had a really strange week, to be honest with you. Just a really strange week. I've had like people schedule meetings and then not show up. And then I had one dude come 10 minutes late to a meeting. It was a 30-minute meeting. He came 10 minutes late and goes, I was just doing some other things. I just signed in late. Like, he didn't say like, I'm sorry or nothing, but it was like he scheduled the meeting because he needed something of value from me, right? So you know how that goes. Mm-hmm. And then at the bottom of the hour, you know, when that schedule was up, he was still talking. And I was like, time's up, bro. And he was like, but I have a couple more things I need to ask you. And I was like, you were late. It's just been a really weird people week like that. It's just been a strange week. And I don't know if it's like, you know, because the eclipse was 2 weeks ago or the weather changed or I don't know what it was, but it was a really weird people interaction week.
Interesting.
That said, did close a really big web project yesterday. Pretty happy about that. It's a big one. And then our custom designed LifterLMS project that we're working on at Mañana No Mas has really turned the corner and it's coming near completion, and the customer is very, very happy. And that's, dude, you know the stress of that. Someone draws a picture and says, I wish my website looked like this. And you're like, oh God, you know, you're trying to invent the way the internet works. You know, people have been using the internet for a long time, just the way it is. I don't know why you think you need to change it, but they wanted to change it. And our developer in-house was able to pull it out. And I'm really happy with the results. And so is the client. So there's good news all the way around. How about you and your projects?
Yeah, it's been going all right with my projects. I'm thinking through like what I've been doing in the last week. The custom development stuff, that's still kind of always the same. I think that's it. I've just been doing custom development. I've been doing more YouTube videos. I've been recording some. I published one the other day. I just want to get back in the YouTube game, back in the content game, and just keep going at that. I find like years ago I did a video a day for 90 days, and I've tried to kick that off again, but I just haven't been able to keep up with it again.
The more that the tools have made it easier to make good stuff, the harder it's become to kick out content, I think. It's like there's it's like WordPress. WordPress over the last half decade, you know, has progressively gotten better and better and more capable and awesome with integrations and new platforms and e-learning and integrations and all these things. And you go, oh, it's getting better. But yeah, now it's really complicated for someone that comes to the table with a big task, you know? It used to, you know, back in the day, we used to make 4 pages in a blog, right? That was it.
Yeah.
Right. So home, about, contact, services, and a blog page. And now it's, you know, it's whatever you want to do. And I feel that way with the video content game. I feel like even with the AI tools, it's, you know, you make the content and then you got 19 different ways to edit it. Do you want to make shorts? Do you want to make longs? Do you want to put in captions? It ends up becoming a thing. That said, folks, we put the banner up that says LifterLMS pre-sales questions and answers in the chat. So if you would jump into the comments, let us know what your questions are. That would be great. Will and I would like to address those and maybe do some screen shares and walk you through some things if you like. The other thing is, tell us where you are from. Who you are and where you're from. We can see you. We see that you are signing in live. So let us know who you are and where you're from. I'm in Wichita, outside of Wichita and Hutchinson. And Will, I think, is in the Pacific Northwest, still hanging out in Seattle.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I'm jumping into the YouTube comments. We've responded to like all these comments. There have been a few updates this week. I remember there was one lifter question people kept running into, but maybe I'll come up with it later in the call. The cart is empty when I open up incognito. Okay, so this is a good. I mean, I'm just coming up with some questions here in the background that we can dive into. But this is a question from YouTube. I'm just trying to understand what decrypt this question. This person says the cart is empty when I open up incognito. And so if I thought I had a demo site up. Let me open this up. So this message is something you'll get when you don't have an access plan on a course or membership and you just try to visit the purchase page. So if I jump in here, present my screen, share a window, share this. There we go. So I'm in the back end of my WordPress demo site. You can get one of these demo sites at lifterlms.com/try. But if we view our purchase page, which is a page LifterLMS creates, you might see this message that says your cart is currently empty. Please click here to get started. I think that's what this question is referring to. And what this does is it's a page that allows us to have our access plans hook into. So we can see the URL is /purchase. And then all of our access plans on all of our courses and memberships will add something unique to the end of this URL. And it'll add, let's see, so we have start strong access. So if I see purchase link, you probably can't see it, but in the bottom left, I'll click on it too. Now in my URL bar, it says purchase /plan equals 4408. That is the specific purchase plan for my course or membership. So that's something that most people might not think about unless you've kind of worked with WordPress for a while. Is like, how does LifterLMS work to create purchases on our website? It uses a general WordPress page, loading some PHP code to add the functionality for a checkout page, but all of our access plans build on top of that in order to select which product we're ordering. And so knowing that the URL for our access plan is up there at the top, and that's the unique access plan URL, it means we could change it if we wanted to. So 4408 is the access plan for my quick start course. But what if I were to go to saving strategy? Maybe I have an access plan on here too. I do, a la carte course. So on the bottom of my screen, or actually you could see it right there in the middle. If I zoom in, 3369. So what if I were to change that URL to 3369? At the top, now we're buying the saving strategy course with the a la carte access plan. So that's how access plans work to choose which course or membership we're buying, is via that URL. So that's just kind of something subtle that you might not know if you're new to WordPress, if you're new to Lifter. The purchase page doesn't do anything in and of itself, but the courses and membership access plans use them just like this to create purchase pages for each of our programs. I was just trying to make sense of that question. But yeah, that's awesome. I haven't had that question in like forever.
I was interested in one of the things I saw on Facebook today, and I kind of went a little crazy with my responses in there, but somebody had put in, do any of you have a workflow on how to use LifterLMS? Like which way to do step-by-step flow when writing a course so nothing is missed out for each course you write, containing what to do first and not to miss out, etc., etc., etc. And it hit me that we don't really talk about that stuff a lot. We talk a lot about the technology of using the platform, or how to make this button go here, that button go there. But the user flow is like really important. I ended up responding like 5 times to that post on Facebook, dude. I gave them like here's the academy link, here's the how to price your course link, here's the making a course checklist link, here's the all that stuff. But I think it's important to understand that with LifterLMS, all of that stuff is at your fingertips. Like, you don't just buy access to a software program and have to figure it out. There is full tutorials, courses, white papers, checklists, sheets, whatever your learning or working style is. We have those resources available. And if you go now, you'll see them at the top of the Facebook page, all in one post. But the other thing that I wanted to bring up about that, Will, was I get the impression, and I've had this now from a few different clients in the last 2 weeks, they don't know what the user sees on their website. It's really kind of alarmed me lately that people are building in the background as an administrator, but they're not sampling the product. They're just expecting it to work. And so when they promote the page, or they go live, or they do a launch, or they put out, God forbid, a heavily funded Facebook ad or something like that, and start driving traffic to this thing, they start getting support emails or a high bounce rate because people don't know what to do or where to go in their website. They think the platform's not working. It's not that the platform doesn't work. It's that you haven't strategized or set up the flow for your end users. And I think it's important to recognize, especially with a learning management system, that learning management system is made for thousands of creators from all sizes, from startups to enterprise work, right? And so the tools are there, but you have to strategize and build around those tools to create the user flow that makes the most sense for your user case.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Crazy.
No, I think that makes sense. I'm in the background looking at someone talked about a new builder called Breakdance Builder. I haven't heard of, but
Breakdance.
Maybe a new tool on the scene. I don't know. But yeah, building a user flow, pretty important. Looking at your website, because that's all it is like user experience that you're creating, and making your content as easy to access as possible. Just visiting the homepage of your website as much as you can, navigating around, and just not getting locked up in the back end of WordPress. It's pretty easy to get locked up back there. But yeah.
I know that you recommend the same thing I do, and that is get into a different browser, a different machine, or at least an incognito tab, and sign in as a test account. Like, don't just click the view as a student or view as a visitor link in LifterLMS. Literally become a student, become a visitor, go to an outside browser and sign in and go through the whole experience as someone coming in off the web. And it's interesting. It's kind of like when you write something and you read it to yourself, you don't see the mistakes that you made. But if you read it out loud, you will have a hard time pronouncing out loud the words that are misspelled or misclassified. And so a best practice is to really go through the site on your own and really look for those little nuances that you can improve.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great way to do user testing. And I think that we look at demo sites and they're usually populated with like a heavy amount of content. Like this one, even the LifterLMS demo site here has like a lot of stuff going on. And it's like the purpose of the demo site, right, is to showcase like all the features of Lifter. But I don't think like to create a good LMS, you need to like install all the plugins like we have on the demo site. Or maybe you look at a Buddy Boss demo or something and there's a lot of things going on. I think if you're at that stage where you're first building your website, validating a course offering, you don't need to install all the tools and like create all the tabs and create all the menus. And it's really just creating one offering, I think. Seeing if people go for that offering, how the user experience is with that. I don't know. It is a challenge to figure out like how much do we build before we launch, but I would just say as little as possible. Do one thing, launch one thing, a couple lead magnets maybe. But yeah, and you definitely don't want to be pouring Google Ads money or ads money into your site before you have like 100 customers, because it's like it's I've heard this analogy a long time ago that ads are like pouring gasoline on a fire, but if you don't have the fire already going, then the gasoline's not going to do anything. Like, you have to have that spark, you have to have that adoption and the fire already growing and burning for that gasoline to be impactful on like spreading the message you're trying to spread there. Yeah.
I understood. There was a gap there. I got a question for you that I put in chat.
Oh, yeah.
I'll pop that up for you. I'm kind of interested in your take on this one.
Is there a way to add a new badge or icon next to the lesson titles in the syllabus? That's a good question.
So I was looking for you to say, well, I could do that with some CSS, or I could do that with whatever, but that's dynamic content, so I don't know how I would do that.
Yeah. Not sure either. I'm thinking like, because the only badge that's there, right, is this free badge. You could change the text of a free badge to be new, but then it like the functionality would still be that it's free. Just translate the word free into new. Because I mean, that would be a really weird way to do it, where it's like, oh, we're just gonna have all of our like free lessons be kind of the latest stuff we've produced, and then so if you catch us on the cutting edge, if you're following our business closely, you'll be able to get access to the courses temporarily for free just by following the free lessons. But then we'll lock down our older lessons, translate that to new. Trying to think. Other than just putting it in the name, I don't think so, because you can't really put anything in the name of like HTML or anything like that. Like if you just start typing, I don't know if we say bold or strong. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Like this is just gonna print out. That's just gonna print out my brackets, I think.
Yeah.
Not gonna do anything special. Yeah, it just prints that out. Prints it out in the sidebar. You could also just type the word new. Say it just wouldn't be formatted the same. I'm trying to think, like, is there anything with Elementor we could do? What would we do with Elementor? The challenge is the syllabus is just not really editable. If you're using Elementor, if you're using Divi, if you're using Beaver Builder, whatever you're using, the syllabus is just really challenging to get into and edit that piece. You can use shortcodes, you can use blocks within that builder, but editing the block itself, it would just be custom CSS code. So yeah, that is a real challenge. I don't know if there is actually a good way to do that other than just typing new somewhere in your title. Definitely not an easy way. But like Kurt said, you could, of course, with PHP, you'd say like, maybe you can do taxonomies on lessons. So you might be able to say if a lesson has a certain taxonomy, like if I go to my lesson, I don't know if I have taxonomies available on lessons. Might have to add them. Yeah, that's custom development land. Use a custom post type creator, add a custom taxonomy to lessons, like the new taxonomy. If the lesson is new, then add the new banner, or if the lesson had been created within the last month, within the last 2 months or 3 months, whatever the date is, add this badge when you load it in the syllabus. I just don't think that happens anywhere naturally, unfortunately. Adam's in the chat.
Yeah, it said something about sneakers.
I can do with some new shoes.
I can do with some new shoes. Yeah. Of course, I don't know how long Adam's sneakers last. I mean, dude, you're running 50 miles at a time. They can't last for long.
Yeah. Can't imagine running 50 miles. I see you added another one to chat. Yeah, there you go.
Yep. I thought this one was interesting. I answered this one in Facebook, but I want to see if you say anything different.
Yeah, I use WooCommerce add-on to sell my courses. However, the checkout onboarding is sometimes confusing. Several mails are sent. Is there a best practice in the workflow to enable, disable some mails and make checkout onboarding simpler? I think WooCommerce recently removed the password field, so you can't add a password on checkout when creating a user account. That's like in years past you could, where you could just say, oh, give me your email, give me your password, give me the credit card information and the account information, and it'll create it for you. But now it like creates you a user account, and then you have to reset the password via email, which is really awkward. So I have a lot of clients now using cart flows or launch flows or
SureCart. Yeah, I got a few on SureCart.
Just like whatever like random extension or cart feature for WordPress to make that onboarding simpler. WooCommerce is more complicated than using LifterLMS out of the box. What I reviewed earlier on the call was the Lifter Access Plan system. And when you use WooCommerce, that Access Plan system doesn't really apply anymore on the Lifter purchase page, unless you're doing a free purchase plan. But for all your paid plans, you'll create a WooCommerce product, associate your course or membership with that WooCommerce product. When that WooCommerce product is purchased, LifterLMS will enroll membership. So there's some complicated stuff going on the back end, but if you need cart, taxes, advanced integrations, payment gateways LifterLMS doesn't offer, you might want to use WooCommerce. The workflow is that you show up on the website, add the product to the cart, go to checkout with the products in your cart. Lifter will enroll you into anything. The user would get a password to reset. And if you're not using like a launch flows, etc., kind of WooCommerce in hand of the box. So I don't know. I would do launch flows or cart flows to make that if you're doing WooCommerce to make it smooth. There's a bunch of other ones too. I don't remember. I was working on a site yesterday and I don't remember what the one